The war between the United States and Venezuela is not fought with missiles. It is fought with markets, oil, intelligence, and silence, and the highest price is paid by ordinary people. Chapter 1. When enemies don't declare war. The United States and Venezuela are not officially at war. There are no invasion speeches, no formal declarations, no victory parades. But in modern geopolitics, the deadliest wars are the ones no one names. Today, war no longer begins with tanks. It begins with banks. Sanctions replace soldiers. Frozen assets replace bombs. Diplomatic isolation replaces blockades. Cyber pressure replaces artillery. A nation can be defeated without a single shot. Venezuela learned this the hard way. For Washington, Venezuela is not just another struggling country in South America. It is a vault containing the largest proven oil reserves on Earth. Oil is not just fuel. Oil is influence. Oil is leverage. Oil is survival. And when survival is at stake, morality disappears. America does not need to invade Venezuela. It only needs to control who Venezuela can sell its oil to. Because when a nation cannot sell its resources, it cannot feed its people, it cannot stabilize its currency, it cannot protect its future. This is how modern empires conquer, quietly, legally, systematically. To the outside world, it looks like diplomacy. To economists, it looks like policy. To politicians, it looks like pressure. But to ordinary Venezuelans, it feels like suffocation. Hospitals lose supplies, food prices explode, savings vanish, and yet, no war has been declared. Because the most effective wars are the ones the public never recognizes as war. For America, Venezuela is not a battlefield, it is a chessboard. And in chess, the loudest move is always the weakest one. The strongest moves are silent. Chapter 2. Why Venezuela was never really free. Venezuela was not destroyed by missiles, it was destroyed by dependence. For decades, the nation believed oil was a blessing. In reality, oil became its leash. When Venezuela discovered vast oil reserves, the world did not see a country, it saw a pump. Foreign corporations arrived with contracts, engineers, and promises, but every promise carried a condition. Sell to us, depend on us, trust us. Slowly, Venezuela stopped building farms, stopped investing in industry, stopped preparing for a future beyond oil. The nation became rich and fragile. Then came Hugo Chavez. He promised sovereignty, he promised control, he promised dignity. But power without discipline becomes obsession. Chavez nationalized industries, pushed out foreign companies, and challenged Washington directly. For the first time, Venezuela stopped playing the obedient role, and obedience is the only currency empires truly accept. From that moment, Venezuela's fate was sealed. The economy was no longer judged by numbers, it was judged by loyalty. Investors withdrew, credit vanished, diplomatic doors closed quietly. The message was simple. You may choose independence, but you will pay for it. When Nicolás Maduro inherited the system, he inherited a collapsing machine. Oil prices fell, debt exploded, currency lost meaning, and Washington watched patiently. Because collapse is more useful than invasion. A broken nation begs. A desperate nation compromises. A starving nation accepts conditions it once would have rejected. This is not about democracy. This is not about ideology. This is about control. Venezuela was not attacked because it was evil. It was punished because it refused to remain useful, and in global power games, usefulness is the only protection. Chapter 3. The men who never appear on maps. Wars are never decided by presidents alone. They are decided by men you will never see on television. In Venezuela's collapse, 3 invisible forces moved faster than any army: banks, energy cartels, and geopolitical brokers. The bankers controlled debt. The oil traders controlled cash flow. The intelligence networks controlled perception. Together, they shaped reality. When Venezuela's economy weakened, international lenders did not rescue it. They tightened conditions. They raised risk ratings. They turned every loan into a noose. At the same time, oil trading houses quietly rewrote contracts. They demanded discounts. They delayed payments. They shifted shipping insurance rules. Venezuela was still exporting oil, but receiving less money for every barrel. Then came the information war. News agencies framed every shortage as incompetence, every protest as proof, every failure as destiny. And slowly, the world stopped seeing Venezuela as a nation. It began seeing it as a problem. Meanwhile, regional power brokers moved in silence. Russia supplied survival, China supplied credit, Iran supplied tactics. None of them acted out of friendship. They acted out of opportunity, Because collapsing states are marketplaces. Each power wanted a piece: ports, mining rights, military access, political leverage. And above them all stood Washington, not as an invader, but as a referee who controlled the rules, not pushing, not pulling, only waiting. Because in modern war, the most powerful position is patience. Venezuela became a chessboard where no piece understood the full game. Generals protected profits. Politicians protected survival. Foreign allies protected their investments. And the people protected nothing because nothing was left to protect. This is the truth of modern conflict. The visible war is theater. The real war is accounting. And Venezuela is losing both. Chapter 4. A war that numbers already decided. This war was not caused by anger. It was caused by mathematics. Long before soldiers moved, the balance sheets had already chosen the outcome. Venezuela's economy was built on a single pillar: oil. When prices fell, the government borrowed. When borrowing increased, investors demanded control. When control tightened, sovereignty quietly disappeared. Every currency collapse follows the same pattern. First, confidence leaves. Then capital leaves. Then people leave. By the time weapons appear, the nation is already hollow. The United States understands this formula better than anyone. It has used it across continents for decades, not through invasion, but through pressure systems. Sanctions reduce cash. Debt increases dependency. Isolation breaks negotiation. And eventually, leadership must choose between survival and obedience. Venezuela tried to resist, but resistance requires economic oxygen, and Venezuela's oxygen was already owned. Meanwhile, global energy markets were shifting. America wanted stability for prices. China wanted security for supply. Russia wanted leverage. Venezuela stood at the center of all three, not as a power, but as a resource. This is why no side can truly win. If the U.S. pushes too hard, Venezuela collapses completely, and chaos spreads across the region. If Venezuela resists too long, it bleeds internally until it fractures. If allies intervene, they risk confrontation far beyond Caracas. Every option creates loss. This is not a war of territory. It is a war of timing. Who collapses first? Who runs out of patience first? Who blinks first? And the most dangerous truth is this: the people will pay the price no matter who claims victory, because modern wars are not fought to be won. They are fought to be managed. And Venezuela is no longer a battlefield. It is a calculation. Chapter 5. When a broken nation no longer chooses. Once a nation is weakened, power no longer needs to conquer it. Power only needs to wait. After years of sanctions, inflation, migration, and political isolation, Venezuela reached a stage where every decision became survival, not strategy. Governments stop thinking about the future when the present is already collapsing. This is the moment real control begins. Because a broken state does not negotiate, it accepts. Loans replace independence, aid replaces dignity, security replaces sovereignty. Foreign actors do not arrive with flags, they arrive with contracts, oil concessions, debt restructuring, mining permissions, military cooperation. Every signature looks peaceful. Every signature transfers ownership. The United States understands this better than any empire before it, not because it is cruel, but because it is efficient. Why invade when influence is cheaper? Why occupy when dependency works better? Meanwhile, Venezuela's allies also calculate. China wants long-term energy guarantees. Russia wants geopolitical leverage. Regional powers want stability without responsibility. Everyone wants something, no one wants to rebuild, and the people remain trapped inside decisions they never approved. This is how modern wars truly end, not with surrender ceremonies, but with economic arrangements that cannot be reversed. The most dangerous moment for Venezuela is not during conflict, it is after, because when the cameras leave, the contracts remain, and the nation slowly discovers that its future has already been assigned, not by voters, not by soldiers, but by those who financed the collapse. This is the stage where flags still fly, but sovereignty is already gone. Chapter 6. The recovery that was never real. Every empire prefers a quiet ending, not victory, not defeat, but normalization. After the pressure eases, after negotiations begin, after headlines fade, Venezuela will be told that recovery has started. New deals will be announced, new currency reforms, new partnerships, new promises. The word stability will return, but stability is not freedom. It is simply a system that no longer resists. The markets may rise, oil production may increase, foreign investors may return, and yet the direction will no longer belong to Venezuela, because real recovery requires ownership of resources, of policy, of future choices. What will exist instead is managed survival. The illusion is powerful. People see shelves filling again, flights returning, tourism reopening, and they believe the crisis has ended. But behind every sign of improvement stands a silent condition. Export what we approve, borrow what we allow, trade where we decide. This is not conquest, this is custody. The most dangerous lie is not that things are bad, it is that things are finally normal. Because once a nation accepts managed recovery, it stops asking who owns the recovery. The politicians celebrate, the corporations profit, the global system stabilizes, but the nation itself remains a guest inside its own future. Venezuela's greatest tragedy is not that it fell, it is that it will rise in a shape it did not design. And most people will never realize when the transformation completed, but because it will feel like relief. Chapter 7. Who really profits? When the dust settles, the battlefield is not owned by soldiers. It is owned by contracts. Every conflict rewrites ownership quietly. Oil blocks change hands. Mining rights are reassigned. Shipping routes are secured. Loans are issued. Influence replaces sovereignty. Venezuela's suffering is visible. The United States strengthens its energy position. China protects its resource access. Russia benefits from instability. No side fights for Venezuela. They fight over it. And the tragedy is simple. The louder the conflict becomes, the quieter the people's control grows. This is how modern empires operate. Not with colonies, but with dependence. Not with flags, but with supply chains. Venezuela does not lose only wealth. It loses time. It loses bargaining power. It loses the future it could have chosen. And this is the real lesson of this war. If this hidden side of history matters to you, subscribe to the hidden chapter, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because real power is understood only by those who keep watching.